Texas frontier, late summer of 1887. Dust swirled along the main street of Dry Creek, a town once proud of its lawmen. Now their badges lay tarnished, broken by greed, fear, and the silence of men who looked the other way. Sheriff Eli Tanner had worn one of those badges once. A lean man in his 40s, his face carried the years of battles he had fought to keep order. But the shine had gone from his star long before he turned it in. He had quit after the council started paying off the Burroughs gang, outlaws who controlled cattle trails, stage routes, and even the saloon doors. Eli didn't leave town, though. He stayed in a cabin by the creek, raising his horses, keeping to himself. He was a man without duty, but not without memory. And in those memories, the badge still weighed on him. One hot evening, Eli rode in for supplies. At the general store, a young deputy stood behind the counter, trying to hide bruises on his jaw. His badge was crooked, bent at the pin. "Who did that to you, son?" Eli asked. The boy swallowed hard. "Burroughs' men. Said I looked too proud wearing this." Eli's jaw tightened. Broken badges meant broken men, and broken men meant a broken town. At the saloon, laughter carried out onto the street. Hard, ugly laughter. Eli knew the sound. Inside, 5 of the Burroughs gang lounged at tables, boots on chairs, pistols on their hips. Their leader wasn't there, but his shadow was. Eli turned to leave, but a voice called out, "Well, if it ain't the lawman who quit." He froze. One of the gang grinned at him. "Where's your badge now, Tanner?" "Rusted in a drawer." The saloon went quiet. Eli's hand brushed the doorframe. He didn't answer, just walked into the night. But the words clung to him. The next morning, he found a crowd gathered near the livery. A rancher named Abel Ryder lay dead, shot in the back. His wife stood over him, weeping. No lawmen came. No justice stirred. Folks just shifted their hats and muttered. Eli saw the deputy from a store, standing off to the side. The boy looked hollow, afraid to even touch his bent badge. "Why ain't you doing something?" Eli demanded. The deputy's voice cracked. "Sheriff said let it be. Can't cross Burroughs." That night, Eli sat on his porch, oil lamp burning low. He pulled out a drawer and held his old badge. The metal was scratched, the pin loose, but it still caught the light. He turned it over in his hand, feeling the weight he had once carried. Maybe he had quit, but maybe the fight wasn't done. 2 days later, Burroughs himself rode in, a thick, scarred man with eyes that burned like coal. He came with 10 riders, all armed. They walked into the saloon, claimed the whole place, and made the townsfolk scatter. By nightfall, the gang owned the street. They laughed, fired shots into the sky, and smashed what they pleased. Eli stood in the shadows, watching. A girl no older than 12 tried to run past with bread in her hands. One outlaw grabbed her, yanking the food away. She cried out, and the crowd turned their eyes down, too afraid to move. That was the moment Eli Tanner stepped out. "Let her go," he said. His voice was steady, quiet, but it cut through the street like a blade. The outlaw sneered. "Well, what? You ain't got no badge no more." Eli showed him his hands. "Empty. Don't need one." The girl slipped free and ran. Eli never looked away from the outlaw. Silence filled the street. Burroughs himself rose from the saloon porch, studying the man who had once been sheriff. "Well," Burroughs drawled, "maybe Dry Creek still got a little fight left in it. Let's see how long it lasts." That night, Eli knocked on doors. He found the young deputy, still shaken but willing. He found Abel Ryder's widow, who pressed her late husband's rifle into his hands. He found 2 old ranch hands who'd fought in the war and remembered what courage felt like. They gathered in the barn behind the livery. Broken men, broken badges, broken hopes, but something new was being forged. Eli spoke quietly. "I ain't sheriff anymore, but this town don't need a title. It needs a stand. If we let Burroughs rule, we'll all bow forever. If we fight, we might lose, but at least we'll be men again." One by one, heads nodded. Even the deputy straightened his bent badge and pinned it firm. When dawn came, Burroughs and his gang strolled down the main street, laughing at the silence. But the silence broke. From windows, from rooftops, from the livery barn, rifles leveled. Eli stepped into the open, his badge pinned crooked to his chest. "Dry Creek don't bow anymore," he said. The fight exploded. Shots cracked, wood splintered, dust rose in choking clouds. Burroughs' men fired wild, but townsfolk fired true. Eli moved steady, his revolver calm in his hand. He wasn't the fastest draw anymore, but he was the surest. One outlaw fell, then another. The deputy stood beside him, jaw clenched, no longer afraid. Burroughs roared, shoving through the chaos, his pistol raised. "Tanner," he shouted, "you think you can break me?" Eli's eyes never left him. "No, but I can end you." Their shots rang together. When the dust settled, Burroughs lay still. His men scattered, running for the hills. The town gathered in silence. The street was scarred, windows shattered, smoke curling from broken boards. But in that silence, something had changed. Eli Tanner pulled the bent badge from his chest. He looked at it, then at the deputy beside him. The boy's badge gleamed, still bent, but no longer broken. "You wear it," Eli said softly, "and don't let it rust." He set the star in the boy's hand and walked away, toward the creek where his horses waited. He wasn't sheriff anymore, but he had given Dry Creek back its courage. The badges might be broken, but the people were whole again.